Tonight with your host, Sean Micallef. Special guests, Todd Woodbridge, Sean William Scott, Michael McKean, Placebo, classical pianist Simon Tedeschi, plus Dave Graney, Claire Moore, and the Bad Eggs Orchestra. And here he is, the presenter of the show, Sean Micallef.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. A piano virtuoso, Simon Tedeschi, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent, Simon, excellent. I thought I was good, but he puts me to shame. Well done. Sadly, that's the extent of Simon's contribution tonight. Now, I suppose a lot of you are thinking, gee, Sean's entrance was a bit lacklustre tonight. He usually comes up with something a bit more interesting than that. Typical, I'll never watch him again. Well, you know, fair enough, I suppose. But it's not a gag. I have actually torn a cartilage in my knee. So how do you feel now? Yeah, you know, I don't want to, thank you, but I don't want to embarrass you in front of all these good people here, but I did it recording a sketch to make you laugh. I'm in a lot of pain, sure, but I'm showfolk, and I believe Micallef tonight should go on whether I'm capable of giving a decent performance or not. And it's nothing to do with ego, it's because I love you. I don't want to make a big deal about it, obviously, but could we cut to the MRI of my knee? There we go. As you can see there, it's a bucket handle tear of the medial cartilage, and it's caught under the mechanism of the knee, causing blinding pain on movement. And, well, even if you don't care, these good people do. Right, of course. A lot of news this week. The papers have been full of it, as have I. I don't know if you read that the big record companies are concerned about the pirating of new music. It's true. It's very true. In fact, someone in the office offered to burn a Danny Minogue CD for me the other day. It's very kind of them, obviously, but I'm a bit old-fashioned about these things, and I had them bury it for me instead. Pauline Hanson is on trial in Brisbane, so I guess if they like her, they'll keep her. Federal police have seized 100 kilograms of heroin worth $200 million, so it's great that none of that is going to end up on the street. Doctors say Rene Rivkin shouldn't be driving his Mercedes convertible sports car after brain surgery. He should be driving it after penis enlargement surgery. Cathy Freeman continues to deny her retirement has anything to do with new boyfriend Joel Edgerton, or as I like to call him, the Yoko Ono of Australian athletics. Thanks a lot, Joel. It's a lovely story, though. Cathy and Joel first met at the Logies last year, where Joel missed out on Best Actor, but picked up Fastest Woman instead. Simon Crean says Cathy Freeman could have a future in politics, which is one point of difference between them. Although I fail to see what qualities Cathy's got that would make her suitable for politics. She's fit, smart and popular. 3 strikes and you're out, I would have thought. We've got a good show, a great show, in fact, lined up for you tonight. Hollywood star of the American Pie movies and Dude, Where's My Car? Todd Woodbridge is here. Tennis champion and winner of 76 doubles titles, Sean William Scott joins us. The star of This Is Spinal Tap and now A Mighty Wind, Michael McKean is here. Yes. And we have music from Placebo. We've had Simon Tedeschi, we've got Lavinia Nixon still to come. I get up on my high horse. I don't know how, but I'll manage somehow. And of course, a man and a band, as fixed in the Micallef Tonight firmament as the North Star, the ever-reliable, ever-dependent, Francis Greenslade and the Channel 9-9.
Unfortunately, Sean, no.
What?
No, sadly, the band and myself couldn't be here tonight because we forgot. So in our place, Dave Graney, Claire Moore and the Bad Eggs Orchestra!
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dave and Claire. We'll be hearing from Dave and Claire about what they're up to a little later on in the show. OK, now our opening act tonight is a duo who have been, well, at least, let me put it this way, a duo who between them have 142 years of show business experience. That's pretty impressive for two people, less so for 20 and downright amateurish for, say, 284. 6 months each, let's face it. Daryl and Harriet Spunkin were a staple in the Tivoli circuit back in the 1950s when they performed as the fabulous Flying Blades. They broke up in the mid-60s. I don't think they'll mind me mentioning this, you know, just... it's part of the intro. They broke up when Harriet discovered Daryl was having an affair with a chorus girl. Daryl and Harriet divorced and they went their separate ways. Daryl, in fact, married the young lady and they were very happy together. Harriet less so, obviously. She lived alone for many years, quite depressed and I think needed some sort of psychiatric treatment. I don't want to go into that. But anyway, Harriet didn't speak to Daryl for over 35 years. It's very sad. But time heals all wounds, as they say, and the fabulous Flying Blades are back together and touring and join us tonight with their famous death-defying knife act. Well, if variety isn't dead, then Daryl certainly is. Excellent. Anyway, and a big thank you. We should thank Simon Tedeschi for playing those last three notes in the opening music. I don't think I've ever heard them played as brilliantly. Thank you, Simon. Thank you. Simon, just wondering, would you like to take part in a new segment that we've got planned?
What segment?
Well, that's a good question. Good question. I'll just check. Look, it's a new segment we're trying out. It's called Stump the Classical Pianist. Would you mind? I mean, as you're here...
What choice do I have?
None at all, I wouldn't have thought. You signed that contract just a bit too quickly. All right. Cue jingle and graphic.
Stump the classical pianist.
Oh, I was hoping I could have a drink. Now, the object of this game is that members of our studio audience try and stump Simon by suggesting a piece of music for him to play. If he gets stumped, then the audience member wins. It's a pretty simple concept. The only downside is that you folks at home will be seeing our studio audience. And they really are quite horrible. You know, that Channel 9 audience look. You know? Not quite as bad as the hillbillies you'll see on the footy show, but, you know, they're knocking on the door, you get my meaning? Anyway, I can't talk because they're here. Lavinia Nixon joins us live from the audience. Are you there, Lavinia?
Yes, I am, Sean.
What, are we got a satellite delay, have we?
No, just thinking of something to say.
All right, OK. Now, do you have the first audience member to try and stump Mr Tedeschi?
Yes, I do. I've
Excellent.
rustled up Stephen. He has a piece of music he thinks Simon won't be able to play. What is it?
What about Claire de Lune by Debussy?
Claire de Lune by Debussy,
no
please,
problem.
Simon. The kid's good.
Is that it?
Yes,
Oh, OK.
Well done. Now, I picked out Louise. I actually personally know every single person's name in the audience. It's not a setup. Louise, what piece of music do you think will stump Simon?
How about the first movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata?
First movement, please, Simon.
Close enough.
Nice work. Very nice. One more.
All right.
Sir, do you think you can stump Simon?
Yes, I would, I'd
wait
like
a
you to
minute.
play
Spot the actor.
Chicken Dog.
The chicken dance, please.
Excellent. All right, Pete, what were the scores?
Tedeschi 3, audience nothing.
All right, and I think Lavinia has a prize for you, Simon.
Yes, Sean, we do. It's a 2-hour tram ticket, Simon. Unfortunately, it was validated 1 hour and 59 minutes ago, so if you want to use it, best be hurrying.
Please thank Simon Tedeschi. And Lavinia Nixon, of course. Thank you, Lavinia. Now, I suppose most of you have heard about the bitter legal wrangle between the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund and Franklin Mint. Everybody? Yes, sure, I heard about that. Excellent. Well, there it is there, in fact. Quickly read that. All right, now, apparently Princess Diana's estate doesn't want Franklin Mint using Diana's image, and of particular concern is what I think is a very tasteful figurine of the princess, which we can see here. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a laugh. That is actually what they're selling, and I think it's very nice and a nice memory of the princess. It's just that the Diana Memorial Fund feel they could earn more money for their charities with their own figurine, which is this one here, which is reasonably similar, I think you'll see, except that it comes with some really cool extras. A utility belt, a jungle knife, a space hen, cowboy hat, radio sunglasses, aqualung, ski mask, atomic shovel there it is there, excellent, fire extinguisher, anti-gravity boots, miniature robot falcon, pet dolphin squeaker, and a wind car, plus special ejector head action with optional Harry Potter attachment. All right. Now, that's only a few bucks more, but it's worth it, plus you're helping the charities. Now, that's great, obviously, but the really good thing about the Franklin Mint one is that it's a transformer. It transforms into the... Hang on just a sec. It transforms... There we go. Into a... Please, you haven't heard the punchline yet. It transforms into a Dianosaur. Anyway, I think it's very respectful of her image. Well, who could ever forget Cathy Freeman's dash for gold at the Sydney Olympics? Show of hands? No one. All right. It was the race that stopped the nation. All except Cathy herself, obviously, stopping with the rest of us and standing there watching herself while her fellow competitors sprint past would have been frankly ridiculous, and I'm glad she didn't do it. Anyway, tonight we had hoped to present our tribute to Cathy Freeman, who, as many of you would know from one of the monologue jokes tonight, announced her retirement last week. Unfortunately, because she's contracted to Channel 7 and because 7 hold all the rights to footage from the Olympics, our tribute isn't perhaps as impressive as we'd hoped, but I think it sums up the feelings that we all have for our Cathy at the end of an era. God bless you, Cathy. Sorry I couldn't stand during the anthem, but I have a really bad knee. All right, coming up after the break, Todd Woodbridge and Sean William Scott, and to play us to the break, Dave Graney, Claire Moore and the Bad Eggs Orchestra. Thank you very much, but I can't take all the credit. That's Dave Graney and Claire Moore there, ladies and gentlemen. Dave, you're playing music from this
Yes.
thing here that I'm holding up. This is a soundtrack album to the movie Bad Eggs, and I'll just hold it up here. There we go. It's available in the shops. That film comes out on the 24th of July, and that CD is in the shops now, as is this one. There we go. It's exactly the same as that one. And I could do this all night, but really, you've got a lot. It's well stocked, aren't they, these shops with this particular CD?
You're very familiar with the modern world, Sean.
I am. I know how it works. I know how commerce works. Now, look, I'm just wondering, though, playing in and out of the breaks for this show, a little disrespectful to the music, isn't it? Or do you prefer that?
A little disrespect comes your way in life, and you must cop it sweet, as they say, in our lovely country.
And what track listing was that? The one you just played then, what number?
That is called the Bad Eggs theme.
The Bad Eggs theme, all right. And that appeared... That's not on this. That's not on this album.
That you'll have to perhaps buy several to get the CD.
All right. Oh, it's a special mystery track that turns up in one in every 250 pressings. Yes. All right. Oh, that's exciting. Well, there you go. Good enough reason to go and buy at least 250 copies of that particular CD. Thank you very much, Dave and Claire. Now, interesting celebrity news last week. Nicole Kidman, as seen here, is tipped to become the new face of Chanel. Kate Blanchett is tipped to become the new face of Donna Karan. And some remoulded subcutaneous fat removed from his buttocks is tipped to become the new face of Michael Jackson. and good luck to him. He's a good friend to Micallef tonight. And right now, a man who has seen more doubles than Dean Martin or a doppelganger spotter with blurred vision. That's right, I'm talking about Todd Woodbridge. Please applaud him as he walks down these stairs and sits on this chair. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. Sit, please, sit. Look, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Nice to be here. Nice to be back in Australia.
Yes, because you've been away, haven't you? Been winning a certain thing.
Yeah, a certain tournament in London.
Well, look, congratulations, because you're now, as the Wimbledon gentlemen's doubles title winner for this year, you equal the score of a couple of old dudes, don't you?
Yeah.
You're actually the top now, aren't you?
Well,
you're the top except for these two guys.
Yeah, the Dohertys.
The Dohertys. In fact, I have heard of them, and I'm sure our audience has too. Do we have a shot? These are the two guys. This is serious. This is Hugh and Reggie Doherty. I'm not sure which is which. And between 1897 and 1905, they won their doubles. And you're neck and neck with them at the moment.
Neck and neck, yeah. Look, I would have been happy to have quit, retired, whatever you like to call it, after number 8. I thought
chucked in the towel.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And I've got to go back. I've got to see if I can beat those guys.
Beat those two guys there. Yeah. Look, I mean, I know it's hard to tell.
Look at the racket.
I know it's hard to tell from a photograph. They're talking already. I know it's hard to tell from a photograph, but how do you think you'd do up against them?
I think I'd go all right.
Yeah, do you think?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, back in those days, they only played what was called the challenge round as well. They won the first year, and then the years after that, they played one match.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's quite an easy feat.
It's quite soft. Well, look, just have a look at those guys again. They look tough to me. What do you two guys think? You reckon you could beat Todd?
We'd whoop his ass, boy.
Now, let's have a look at some real footage, I suppose, of the winning, one of the winning shots, anyway.
Yeah, match point.
This is match point.
I got it very high there. Thank you very much for missing that one.
You were covered. What's that? What's Jonas doing there?
I've played with him for 2.5 years now, and I haven't seen that before. But it's a famous move from a Swedish comedian. So if you can come up with your own move tonight, if I can win number 9, I promise you I'll do it.
Oh well, thank you very much. That's very nice.
So we've got to get you up off the chair.
Yeah,
first.
I made a bit of physio before I can manage anything like that. But look, I'm great. I'd love to be immortalised on Wimbledon.
On the centre court.
Centre court. Yeah, that'd be great.
So
that's a promise. You'll be back there next year.
I think I'd like to get back there. The things that keep motivating me right now are records. I'm close to 3 tournaments away from being the all-time winningest doubles player in the history of our game. I've got Davis Cup the end of this year. I'd love to win a Davis Cup here in Australia. I've got an Olympics to get to, and that'd be a 4-time Olympian. So they're all numbers that keep pushing me right now. So I can try to do that within the next 12 months. I'll be happy.
Well, the first of those that you mentioned, I mean, you've 76 so far.
Yeah.
wins, and 78, I think, is the record.
That's right.
McEnroe's at 77.
Yeah, we've got this ongoing. It's kind of banter in the locker room, actually, but he's a pretty serious bloke, and he doesn't want his own record to be broken. Like he's sitting at 77. There's a Dutchman by the name of Tom Ocker at 78, and Mac reckons if I can get to 77 and be tied with him, that we should go out and win a tournament and tie this guy together. And so we're talking about it, and you never know. He's in good form. He still plays the old guys circuit, and if we can pick the right tournament, it might happen.
All right. So how do you think you'd go? How do you think you'd go playing with him?
I think I'd do all right. My old partner Mark Woodford won a US Open and quite a few other tournaments with Mac before we teamed up together like 10 years ago.
Right.
So, I'd like to keep toppling some of Mark's records, see if I can do as well with Mac as well.
Okay. The rivalry there.
Yeah, there's a bit of banter between Mark and I still.
Do you miss Mark?
No.
You're not at all? How long did you spend? You spent 10 years with him?
10 years.
I know, I'm making it sound like you had some sort of off-court relationship.
Yeah.
But you did spend a lot of time together, didn't you? Touring?
Yes, we did.
And in fact, is it right, your wives, you both had children?
Yes, we are married, yes, but not to each other.
I see, right. But you both had children at the same time, though, didn't you?
We did. We both got two. When Mark retired at the end of the Olympics in Sydney, and we had one on the way, came in December. My first is 6 weeks older than his, and his second is 6 weeks older than our second. So there's only 20 months between my two, so that tells you we did everything on a par together.
I see.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that. Then.
Right, okay. You rang each other just beforehand. Now, did you bring the jug that you won? Did you bring along
the trophy? Yeah, silverware? No.
Nothing?
No. Well, I didn't, but it's a bit embarrassing.
Could you draw
you saw the trophy up there before, but we only get this tiny little miniature thing, you don't
get to keep it?
No.
Why is that?
It's a 100-year-old trophy, as they say. They're not, you get it there for 5 seconds, and it's gone back in the cabinet by the time you've left. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you get a little Franklin Mint version of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you have a few of those now. You can melt them down into one big one.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, that's a pity. I didn't realise that.
Yeah. I asked them if they'd retire the trophy this year, but there's no chance. So I could bring it back on.
Okay. All right. Where to now? I mean, you're back here to obviously gloat, and but where to after your visit back here? Because you don't live here anymore, do you?
Well, no, I haven't been. I'm still all Australian, but I haven't been based in Australia for the last 10 years. But with 2 young kids, I'm really looking to get back to Australia now. I want the kids to be back here and near their grandparents and enjoying growing up in Australia. It's the greatest place in the world, and I think after living in the States for a long time and all the stuff that's gone on around the world the last few years, that this is where they should be. So we're in the middle of kind of packing up the bags and moving back to Australia.
I see. Because you can actually let them out into the park, and where you're living at the moment is rather an enclosed sort of affair, isn't it?
It's a nice place, though, where I live.
We should explain to the audience, because it's in Florida, isn't it? And you live in a compound, really, don't you?
Well, it's not a compound. You make it sound like it's a jail.
Well, there's big high walls and there's locked gates, isn't there?
Yeah, there's guards at the gate, and if I haven't called for you to come in, you're not allowed in the gate.
And I'll get shot, too. So who else is there? You share... you've got some interesting neighbours, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm a golf fan, keen hacker, as I call myself. Tiger Woods lives in there, Shaquille O'Neal, Stuart Appleby, another famous Australian golfer, Robert Allenby from Australia also live in there. Some baseballers, Ken Griffey Jr., one of the most famous in America right now, and the list continues on.
All right. So then you share a common area, and you go and have barbecues together?
Yeah, we do. We do. Tiger comes home, he walks in the door, goes to the fridge.
Yeah?
I'm not joking.
And you're in the fridge?
Oh, I'm not in the fridge, no.
Is that right?
But no, look, we have these mini, we have these mini, not triathlon, but biathlon type of thing. We play golf, play tennis, I shoot some baskets, and
sounds pretty interesting.
It's great fun.
And you're going to give all that away and eventually come back here?
Come back here, yeah. Yeah, why?
And live on this set?
No, it's a fun place and pretty interesting, and I've enjoyed it, but I'm ready to come back.
All right. Now you mentioned also the Davis Cup. I mean, I suppose, I think, in fact, you said a few years ago you'd laugh if we ended up playing the Swedes, but in fact, Roger Federer will be playing Roger Federer. So
yeah,
we
that's
won't
the
be,
Swiss.
The Swiss. The what? The Swiss.
Swiss.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Oh, I see. I made a mistake.
Yes.
That's all right. That's all right. I had another
good,
20 minutes of questions.
But no, look, we've got Davis Cup back here in September.
Yes.
We play Switzerland. We've got probably the Australian team, not named yet, but most likely I think Leighton Hewitt, Mark Philippoussis, myself and Wayne Arthurs. I'm putting a plug to make sure I get in the team tonight. And we've got Roger Federer, the new Wimbledon champion.
Yes, he's the German man.
Yes, Marc Rosset.
Yes.
So,
from New Guinea, yes.
So if we can do well here in September, we would play against Spain, Argentina, again in Melbourne, later in the year in the final, and I think we've got a great chance if we can get through that, but we've got to get through this first one first. But
all right, and the Olympics is something that...
Olympics is probably the biggest thrill for me that I've ever had as a tennis player, believe it or not, because to win a gold medal in Atlanta, which we did, you win that for your country, you don't win that for yourself, and there's a huge amount of pressure when your country expecting a gold medal, which is what happened for Mark Woodford and I. So to win that was phenomenal. So to get to Athens, I'd be a 4-time Olympian, and I'd be pretty pleased with that.
All right, well, as would we. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please thank Todd Woodbridge?
Thanks very much.
Todd, don't go away.
Thank you.
Don't go away just yet. Because I just want to ask you a few questions. Have you seen Dude, Where's My Car?
No.
No? All right. All right. Have you seen Bulletproof Monk?
No.
No? No, haven't seen that one. All right. Road Trip?
No.
You enjoy the American Pie movies?
Yes.
Oh, good! Then you'll enjoy meeting my next guest, Sean Williams. It's seamless, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Sean William Scott, who appears in all these films, including the third American Pie film, which I'm sure you're going to see. It's called American Pie: The Wedding, and a brief clip of which will appear as soon as I finish. So not so much a clip as a trailer. Please welcome Sean William Scott. Sean, nice to see you. I know you're not actually here, but it's nice to have you there.
That's good. It's good to see you too.
Oh, thank you very much. Although, of course, you actually have been here before, haven't you?
They kind of hoard me out for American Pie 2. I went everywhere. They knew I loved Australia, so they just asked me to go to every city. I went to Perth, and the first thing Heath Ledger's sister said, because she was the publicist there, she goes, "It's amazing. You're the first actor that's ever come to Perth." I was like, oh. I'm like, oh, all right. And I opened up a movie theater there. There was like 10 kids. Like, oh, I hope you enjoy the movie.
Can I trust you, Sean? Because you're stumping for a film now that you swore you'd never make.
I know, and I don't know. I couldn't do anything about it. I read the script for American Pie 3. I didn't think that we were ever going to do another one. I thought, we were lucky that American Pie 2 did well, and we should leave it at that. And then the script for American Pie 3 was so good that I had to do it. I thought we had an opportunity to actually make the third one the best one. So
you said that you would not do this film for $20 million.
I think I said for $40 million.
40 million. Oh, sorry, I misquoted you.
No, actually, unfortunately, I ended up getting $40.
Okay,
so,
all right.
But, it was such a good part. I didn't get the $20 million.
Well, you've also said that you'd never make a sequel to Dude, Where's My Car? So I suspect we can see that in cinemas very shortly.
That's true. No, I'm not doing any sequel to Dude, Where's My Car. I don't know what that's about. I think Fox, the studios, put out some release saying that we're doing a sequel, and that'll never happen. I've never heard anything about it.
All right, well, I'd like you to lay your hand on your heart and put your right hand in the air and swear that you'll never do a sequel to Dude, Where's My Car?
I'll bet you. I will bet you.
I want you to swear. Okay. I want you to swear on your...
I'll swear I'm never going to do a sequel to Dude, Where's My Car.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Even if they were even talking about it. I'll give you $10,000 if I do it.
10,000, that's great. So if you do it, you go to hell, and I get $10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a good deal. Now, the success of these American Pie films, and also Dude, Where's My Car, have enabled you to work with to make other films and work with some pretty impressive actors. What about Christopher Walken? What did you learn from him, if anything?
That was just an amazing experience because, he's a legend, but, that guy is hysterical. I remember seeing him, I think, the first time I've ever talked to him. He said to me, he goes, hey, dude. And I was like, oh, hey, Chris, welcome, how's it going? And like later on in the day, he looked all sad, and I was like, you know, Chris, what's wrong? Is everything okay? He's like, well, you know, I'm a little sad, you know. I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, well, I'm in Los Angeles by myself, and obviously I don't know how to do his voice, and he's like, it's my birthday today. And I was like, oh my God, well, happy birthday, that's great. He's like, no, don't tell anybody, it's, you know. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, you know, but happy birthday. And he kind of went like, I'm just kidding, it's not my birthday. He's like, but I do that all the time. You know what, later in the week, I'm going to do that, and I guarantee you by noon, they're going to bring me out a cake. I was like, oh, that's great. And then like a week later, they were singing happy birthday to him, they brought out a cake, and he just kind of gave me a wink, and it wasn't his birthday.
What do your parents think of the American Pie series? Because you came from a church-going family, well, still do, I suppose, come from a church-going family. Are they supportive of these films that you're making?
I think they enjoy, you know, seeing me kind of act up, you know, like a ham and be goofy, because I'm not really like that, so they enjoy it. I just don't think that we thought American Pie or that kind of a movie would be the first thing for me. I moved out to Los Angeles to do maybe like the sequel to Raging Bull. I didn't think it was going to be playing a character where I was drinking a beer with semen in it, you know.
No. In fact, do you remember your first big audition? Do you remember the first prize you went for there?
First audition, Baywatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was really excited about that one, you know. I was like, oh, okay, Baywatch. And I remember thinking, audition, I thought when you got an agent, they just hooked you up with jobs. I mean, I was so green, I didn't even know you had to audition for something. So I kind of thought that sucked. And then I didn't have a car, so I had to take buses to all my auditions. And long story short, I got off in the wrong stop. I ended up in South Central. Some gangsters came up with some guns. They didn't really like aim them at me, but I ended up having to give them my shirt. Their friends came 20 minutes later. I gave them my shoes, the $1.50 I had to get to the audition. The bus finally came, realized I was in Watts, and got to Baywatch without my shirt and my shoes. Did some push-ups in the hallway. I was excited, and they didn't let me audition because I was late. And I tried to tell them that they didn't understand, you know, what it took for me to get there.
Yeah, and
but I think it all worked out because I can't swim.
Surely you would have been dressed appropriately for the audition. That would have been fine, wouldn't it?
Well, that's what I said, although I had a little bit of a gut, so I think that maybe turned it off a bit.
Now, there's a scene in the new film. Over here it's called American Pie The Wedding. I know it's called American Wedding in the United States, but apparently they're worried that we won't get that it's an American Pie film, so they've got to put American Pie in the title. There's a scene, there's a scene in this new film that you wanted cut out, isn't there? There's a scene that you just weren't too sure about.
Oh, yeah. Well, was it the doggy doo-doo scene?
Well, you know, it's up to you. I mean, if that's the scene that you were uncomfortable with, I was uncertain. I knew it involved a dog, but I didn't know that it involved doggy doo-doo.
Well, I don't want any of the scenes cut. I've seen the movie. I love it. I think it's the best one out of all three. But when I read the script, there was a scene that I just didn't think it was going to be funny. And I mean, I think we've seen my character, you know, go through everything, and I thought this was a little bit far, or too far for us to go. But I was wrong because it's gross, but you need to see this character eat the doggy doo-doo, and I don't want to ruin it for people, but I just did.
No, that's all right. No, I'm sure it's in the delivery. I'm sure there's a lot more to it in the delivery than just you eating the dog crap. Well, look, best of luck with the film. Best of luck with your future projects as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Please thank Sean William Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Sean, and we should say that American Pie The Wedding is in cinemas on the 7th of August. And Todd, I didn't mention, of course, that Todd will be in the action in the Davis Cup semi-finals against Switzerland, at the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, from September the 19th to the 21st. And thank you very much, Todd, for coming along.
Thanks,
and thanks, Sean, as well. And we'll be back right after this break. joining Claire Moore and the Bad Eggs Orchestra. Hey, Dave, and Claire too, if Dave doesn't know. You know that song of yours, the Invisible Rock Singer song of yours?
That's the one, yes.
That's about celebrity, isn't it?
It is a little, yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there, brother. Okay. Thank you very much, Dave. Look, speaking of, I don't know, it's not relevant to it, I suppose, but, you know, it's a nice get-well card I received from the footy show. Do you want to have a look at that? There you go. Poof, you're having an arthroscopy. Very nice. So thank you very much to Eddie and... Thank you to Eddie and Sam, or Fatty and Sterlo, depending on which state you're watching the show from. All right, now, some of you may remember my next guest as Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley, in which case you're mistaken. He actually played Lenny. Since then, he's gone on to appear in a whole host of films. The very mention of This Is Spinal Tap, Waiting for Guffman, The Best in Show, will have hardened comedy fans talking your ear off for hours. And no doubt they'll point out, quite rightly, that he wasn't in Guffman, although he's credited with writing some of the songs, I think at least 2. But he does appear in his latest film, A Mighty Wind, which is fortunate given he's come all the way over here to promote it. Please welcome Mr. Michael McKean.
You don't get this in Sydney.
Nothing.
No, you don't.
Is that right? Did you get nothing to just silence as you came on?
No, they're fine. They're just. I was just in Sydney, and they speak highly of you.
They seem to like you, Michael.
No, well, thank you. That's very, very nice to be liked. And how are you? I'm so sorry. I was told that you were going to run and greet me.
No, I usually do greet people at the stairs.
So I paused up at the top of the stairs, but you weren't coming, were you?
Nothing. No, you had to find your own way, but I'm glad you did.
No, but you know what I like? I like that, you know, you alluded to it before, but you're a very modest man, as I was informed in the packet. But you can see that you're in pain. You can see that you're playing hurt.
Oh, right.
And it's just, as a newly discovered rugby fan, I think it's a wonderful thing.
Well, thank you very much indeed. No, it's nice to know.
That's a great sport, by the way. I'm not here supporting anyone, but I know nothing about it except that it's never stops. It's a great sport. We don't have that. We don't have rugby.
Rugby union or rugby league?
Well, this was whatever they're playing now. It's the Channel 10 League. Oh, that's all I know. Yes, it's the one I get in my hotel. But it's boy, what a great sport, and we don't get to see that in the U.S.
No, you get that other one where everyone's covered up with helmets.
I know, and they're
padding
all. It's like they're wearing tanks.
It's a girl.
They're wearing
sport.
body helmets. Yeah, it is. It's a girly. It's a terribly girly sport.
No. So
but you did this with it wasn't sports related. It was
no, it was comedy related.
Comedy.
Have you injured yourself comedy-wise? You must have been in comedy for many years.
I kicked Penny Marshall in the head. Usually it was somebody else getting hurt.
Yes.
I kicked Penny Marshall in the head. I've been kicked here a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
No, not too much.
No. Oh, well, you're a good man.
That has nothing to do with it. I agree I am a good man, but it has nothing to do with it.
Jesus is looking after you. Now, you're here to promote A Mighty Wind.
Yes.
Is that a hard thing to do? This is an unusual film to have to sell,
figuratively, is it hard to promote A Mighty Wind or the film A Mighty Wind?
Well, let's deal with the
philosophical question.
Let's deal with the film, I suppose. First.
Yeah. Well, this is a film that was directed by Christopher Guest, and it was a screenplay by Christopher and Eugene Levy, who you just saw a little clip from American Pies and all those films. And they kind of structure the story, and Chris invites all his friends. He's like a comic static sock, you know, in the dryer. It like attracts all these Klingons. We're all these Klingons, you know, and that's how he does. And he just kind of shakes us loose like that, and then he collects us again, and he spends 8 months editing. This is the whole process.
Well, see, I thought it was a hard film to promote, but you've summed it up quite nicely.
Well, I'm just summing up what a great job it is.
Right.
I could tell you what a good film it is, but you really have to see it. It's a very funny film, and it's a very moving film, and it's got music, and it's just got good times. That's all.
Yeah. And you shoot a lot more than you use, don't you? You shoot a lot more than you use.
Yeah, well, Chris shot 80 hours for this. Mm-hmm. This is like a 90-minute film. Don't panic. You know, has anyone seen that Russian Ark movie where people move? There's one shot. I haven't seen this yet. My wife says it's great.
Is that the one that's on 4 screens at once?
Yeah,
is that one? Yeah.
Well, you just imagine they do it once, then it's like lunch, and then after lunch they do it again. Wow.
But I suppose having the 80 hours is great these days because of the DVDs. I mean, the stuff doesn't ever get thrown away. There's funny stuff that doesn't end up in the film.
I think there was a lot of funny stuff, as always is the case in Chris's movies, in Guffman and Best in Show and this film. There are things that are very funny, but they don't service the story. They don't get us, like, into act 3. We don't stall in Act 2 too long. You know, it's very technical, but I'm glad it's not my job.
Do you get surprised when you see the film at the end? Is there stuff of yours that you think, oh, I would have liked to have seen that scene?
No. Whenever there's anything that Chris will kind of feel that he's going to hate to see this go, he always calls me and tells me, we tried to save it, couldn't do it.
Right.
You know, so he's a decent chap.
Right. Well, that's nice, because you've known him for years, haven't you?
I've known him for many years. I've known him for many more years than a lot of the people in this
here.
audience
You don't know this audience?
No, I don't know these people at all. You're right. You're right. I don't know anyone in this entire audience. Usually there's somebody or the son of somebody that I know up there. But this is my first trip to this part of the world, and you really do live in paradise, you know. I'm not just...
You haven't seen...
I can't do that gesture.
You haven't seen Spotswood, though. We usually have a footage of Spotswood, which we appall our international guests with.
It's just lovely here.
It is lovely here, and I intend to live here just a bit longer. Now, the end of this film, I don't want to give the ending away, but the film builds up to a big performance, as do many of Christopher Guest's films. They build up to a big performance, a rock and roll show or a
the
dog
big night.
The big night's an important thing.
Yeah.
And you performed as the Folksmen. Actually, the Folksmen have a life that predate this film by many years.
Yeah, we were having a photo session as Spinal Tap and as ourselves when the film first came out, and when we were as our own selves, we looked at this Polaroid shot that the guy showed us, and we decided we looked like a washed-up folk trio without the hair. So we said, well, let's try that next, and we did. We did it on TV in America, and then it just kind of sat there like a time capsule, or like a banana skin under the bed. It depends on how you sniff it out. But that's what we did, and then Chris, decided to take this, this act, the Folksmen. And we had opened for ourselves as Spinal Tap. We played Spinal Tap concerts, and the Folksmen were the opening act. And it worked great when we remembered to tell the audience that was going to happen. Because if not, they just assumed we were 3 real old guys, with wooden instruments, and they wanted none of that. Yeah.
So they had to be in on it. But at the end of the film, the audience that you have there, you just did a real show, basically. Was the audience aware? The audience obviously aware they were.
The audience were paid.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. The audience were paid extras. They were people that we could move around. We can yell at them and then send them to lunch and then have them. I know you were over there now, but now you're over here, and if you could put a different tie on, that'd be good. Just that kind of, because it's not a very high-budget movie,
No. But you don't want them to laugh during the performance of the Folksmen.
Oh.
I just wonder about that.
Yeah, they're supposed to take it sort of seriously.
Did they?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Did they? That was all right.
But there's some actual humor, that would be intentional on the part of the Folksmen. A lot of what's amusing about them is that they're banal, which is the truth about the other 2 acts in the show.
But you're a
not in this show.
No, Dave's a nice
By the
guy.
way, these guys are great.
Yeah, Dave and Claire are young,
Excellent.
up-and-coming young talent. We like to break new talent here on Micallef.
Yeah. Is that an original flying V there you got?
This is a Kenora.
A Kenora.
For those in the know, the cheapest you can find.
A cousin of the Gibson family.
Yes,
correct. Yes, I knew that there was some connection that was biological, at least. No, it's a great act. Anyway.
And what's your preferred axe?
I've been playing PRS.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They gave me a couple of test models, and I played them, and I got a really good sound out of them. And so I mostly play a PRS.
You've also got another film out at the moment. Can we mention autofocus as well? Because that's just
I just have a little piece in autofocus, but everyone gets a piece in autofocus, believe me. It's a very interesting film. I think my friend Paul Schrader made it, and he is the devil. But he's also a really interesting filmmaker, and I think it's pretty cool.
Well,
I think the guys in it are really good.
Yeah, well, I guess Greg Kinnear does for those who don't know, I guess it's about Bob Crane, who from Hogan's Heroes, and his life as a sex addict, which sounds odd, and indeed
it sounds funnier than the movie actually is. But the movie is sort of funny.
But it's a wonderful performance from Greg Kinnear.
Yeah. And also Willem Dafoe, who is never bad.
Certainly. And I just wondered about yourself with Hogan's Heroes there. I wonder if a movie is ever made which involves Laverne and Shirley. Who would you like to play you?
Well, this Sean William Scott kid is good. I saw him do an interview somewhere
as recently, and I can't remember. I've been taking the drug, you know, and it's all coming back.
He did. So Sean William Scott, you'd be quite happy for him to play it?
Well, no. It's a bad match.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Andy Dick, maybe.
All right. Now, fans of Spinal Tap, I suppose, they continue to support the film. And
well, those that don't pass away, yes.
Yeah. And
you have to make that proviso.
It surprised me that it was that long ago, actually, when I looked at the research. I
know, it's
feels
almost 20
like
years.
10 years, but it's actually a lot more than that. And you did a reunion concert.
Well, everything that is 20 years seems like 10 years when you get to a certain age. Right. It's because it's a different fraction of your life. It's terribly depressing, is what I'm saying.
Can we sometimes take calls from people around Australia,
okay.
or from in the studio.
Okay.
We have a question from Francis's knee for you, Michael. If we could, Francis's knee.
Oh, yes. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, that's not my question.
Uh-huh.
My question is this. I'm a big X-Files fan, and you once appeared as Mulder in one of the episodes. Why?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a popular demand response, does it? You're right. Well, listen, thank you for the question, and I'm not sure exactly how to answer, except that they offered me this part. I've been bugging them over on the X-Files, get me on that show, because I think it's fun. And so they did, and they put me to work for 4 weeks, and I just wanted to die, because it was so hard. It was really, really long hours, and we were out in the middle of the desert in Lancaster, and how could you turn down something like that? And it was, I actually changed bodies with Mulder.
No one noticed in the episode, is that right?
No, my dresser noticed.
Right.
And so did David.
Very canny.
Believe me.
Very canny.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, now we're going to see a little bit of a clip from the film, A Mighty Wind, and here it is now.
Where?
Well, apparently it's at the chemist's being developed.
They have these computer things.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You only got the one print.
Why don't you run that clip?
Okay. Here's the clip. Here's the clip.
Whistle of a southbound freight for the humming of its driving wheel. No, I never did no wondering. Never did no wondering. Never did no wondering after all.
Sorry, I just got a mental picture in my mind of us on stage in the show, and we weren't wearing the old stuff, the old gear, the old...
We're talking about the Dickies here?
Haberdashery. Well,
I think I'm on record as Mr. Anti-Dickies.
Or Mr. Drop the Dickies.
Oh, Drop the Dickies. I'll still say
it's just a very retro look.
I'm totally available for the discussion of it. It's just that it sounds like you're thinking that the image that we had was a retro image of something that wasn't retro because we weren't retro because we were them.
Right, it wasn't retro then, but now to try a retro thing, it might just look kind of
to do
sad.
Then. I mean, to do then now would be retro. To do then was very nowtro.
Yeah.
It's a very easy film to sell, I think.
Thank you. Oh, thanks.
It's great.
That was Harry Shearer, of course, the voice of most of the Simpsons.
Yes.
And a very old friend of mine, looking stranger than I've ever seen him look. I've seen this man look very strange. He has a couple of looks. He goes through some changes, I guess you'll say, in this movie. It's very interesting.
Yes, it is. And we don't want to spoil the ending of the film. But I wish you the very best of luck with the film.
Thank you so much.
It won't need my sort of imprimatur, but it opens on the 24th of July here in Australia. Autofocus is in cinemas now.
Yeah.
I'll get that.
And Teddy Bear's Picnic on Tuesday if you get this.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
All right. Check your papers. Anything that sounds like that tomorrow night, you'll go.
Okay. Please thank Michael McKean. And we'll be back right after this. So it doesn't look too good. Doesn't look too good.
A bit nasty.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, we're back. I'm talking to Brian from Placebo, And Brian, if I could thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Placebo generally for coming over just for the show. Although you actually do have a tour, don't you? You have a tour. You're going everywhere, and I'll tell the audience the date. I'll hold it back to the end because it's a good bit of theatre, good bit of suspense. You're at the Splendour in the Grass festival in Byron Bay yesterday.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of, argy-bargy going on, wasn't there? Apparently, if I got the right end, you punched Gwyneth Paltrow or something?
No, I think you're talking about Chris from Coldplay who attacked a freelance photographer from a certain rag somewhere. Well, good on him, that's what I say.
Fair enough. He's probably from the Herald Sun.
He's quite out of character for Chris. He's a very gentle individual, so the guy must have really been pushing him.
Right. You didn't see this? You just heard this?
No, I just heard this. I read in the paper like everybody else,
Okay. All right. I can't believe anything you read in the paper. Probably didn't even happen. We've got can I mention your CD?
Yes,
Would
please.
you find that crass and commercial if I held this up to the camera?
No, go for it.
All right. Now this is Placebo's latest album. Now you guys don't put your faces on the cover of your.
No, we feel that's a bit too boy bandish, kind of thing. And I mean, I think you got to try and make your cover art like as much of a work of art as possible, it being a necessary evil, do something really good with it.
All right, so this is no one from the band?
No,
at all?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, all right.
Unfortunately, actually.
Yes, I know it'd be a bit of a worry being that transparent and nude.
With such,
yes, I know.
Momentous breasts
I know,
as well.
Brian, I hear you. I hear you, buddy. Now, as a band, you do birthdays too, don't you?
Parties, bar mitzvahs, we did. Yeah, we do birthdays.
You did a very impressive birthday.
Yeah, we did David Bowie's 50th birthday party, about 5 years ago.
Was it a good gig?
It was a great gig. I mean, there was Lou Reed backstage, Frank Black, people from, just complete heroes, and so it was a bit like being a kid in a candy shop,
Right, so you didn't get any call for the 55th birthday?
No, there wasn't one.
Okay,
it was a fantastic show.
Right.
Really great. Yeah.
And is he a bit of a mentor? He took you under his wing a bit.
Well, yeah, he gave us our first tours. We went from playing to about 300 people in London in dingy little clubs to playing 8,000 people in arenas. So it was kind of a baptism of fire. But we grew up quickly, and it was great. Taught us a lot. And he's been around the block a few times, so he's always got good advice for you.
All right, excellent. All right. Now, Placebo are playing in Melbourne on the 22nd, 23rd of July, Sydney the 25th, 26th, 27th of July, Adelaide 29th of July, and Perth the 30th of July. You can see the figures up, the dates up there and the places as well, which is great. Now, you're going to play for us tonight? You're going to play a song for us tonight, or are you just going to chat to me and that's
No,
it?
we're going to play a song. We're
that's good.
Do our current single called This Picture.
This Picture?
Yeah.
Not this picture?
Not that picture,
Not that picture,
but,
right. Another one. All
another
right.
one. Another one equally as horrid.
Okay, all right. Well, if you please go and set up and plug in the instruments and all that
Thanks
sort of
a
thing.
lot.
I'll fill for you, Brian. Lovely to meet you. Brian and Placebo play very, very shortly. All right. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to get on my, for tonight only, low horse. Really, we could have stayed on the wide shot a bit longer. Oh dear, they've really made it easy for me tonight, haven't they? Oh, hello. Howdy, partners. All righty. Okay. There we go. Nurofen for children, pain and fever relief. Now, I'm all for children's pain and fever relief. If anybody's pain and fever deserves relieving, it's children's. But have a look at this. Nurofen for children, keep out of reach of children. God damn it, Nurofen. Make up your freaking mind. Either you want to relieve children's pain and fever, or you don't. And until you do, our children are doomed to have that which they most desire forever placed just beyond their grasp, or in some cases on a very high shelf if the medicine cabinet can't be locked. I mean, you don't see a can of Lynx deodorant for men with the warning, keep out of reach of men, do you? Or if you do, send it to us. We'll use it next week. Products which insist on inaccessibility to the person using them, into the bin! Very much. Ant farms. It's a fact that only 3 in every 100 will survive bankruptcy in their first year. And yet the nation's ant farmers have only themselves to blame. They get into the ant game with little or no experience in the finer points of ant husbandry. Oh, sure, it's a romantic notion, escaping the rat race to your own piece of land, raising a couple of dozen head of ant, and then sitting on the porch watching them dig tunnels for you, hear them singing them ant work songs. But it's goddamn hard life. You forget to feed them a couple of days and they die. And the banks move in, and it's not just ant farms. Don't get me started on sewage farms. Certainly don't recommend you go around there come harvest time. Into the bin! OK, men without hats. No, no, no! You're too eager, amigos, but curb your whip lust, I say, unto you. Men without hats, they had a hit back in the 80s with the safety dance. Or, if you're not from Adelaide, the safety dance. Listen to this.
We can go if we want to. Night is young and so am I. And we can dress real neat from our hearts to our feet and surprise them with a victory cry.
We can dress real neat from our hats to our feet. Now, they call themselves men without hats. They claim neatness partly on the basis of their hats, which, by definition, they are without. And why should we be compelled to don headwear with these, while these pop synth knobs advising us to get out as they flounce about singing jaunty songs with their skulls naked of cranial accoutrement? That's easy for me to say. Men without hats, probably in the employ of the millinery business. Anyway, which would be both lucrative and ironic. But for now, into the bin! Oh, it's the right way up. Perisher blue. OK, now if you're going to set up a resort in the mountains where there's snow and freezing temperatures, you might want to avoid including the word perish in your name. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a reference to dying of exposure is attractive to holidaymakers. Either way, into the bin! But right now, here's the real thing. Placebo!
Mahatma and scrape the Tarzan grip off that Charlestoning apricot. Because it's time for the part of the show that makes Deal or No Deal look like a pallid imitation of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Not all that difficult, I grant you, and really nothing to do with us. Yes, audience participation, where you, the audience, get to be the star tonight as we play The Numbers Are Right. Over to you, John and Googie.
Thank you very much, Peter. And Francis, whom do we have here?
No one, Sean. He, she, them or it is still being selected by the Micallef tonight human fireball.
All right, well, while that's happening, let's find out what they'll be playing for. Pete!
Sean!
Francis!
Leanne!
Thanks, Leanne. What better way to get some sleep at the end of the day than by going to bed? Hypnotic spiral patterns on the quilt and sheets ensure that you'll be in a deep, deep slumber before you can say, "Get that woman to a doctor immediately." This bedroom furniture is valued at Fred Spoon's Bedroom Furniture Valuations of North Ryde, and it's certainly worth it. From Captain Snooze, and remember the apostrophe makes no difference when you're pronouncing the word. Or how about this for a magnificent china cabinet? Pretty poor substitute, I'd have thought. It's finished in teak veneer before it's even started and stained with whatever happens to fall on it. And I don't know what fell on that poor woman, but that gauze poncho's not going to clean it off. Maple, a curious name for a product predominantly made of chipboard. Or how about these old standbys? Red luggage, camera and slide projector. At least that weirdo model's not in this one, showing off a creosote-stained bod. Oh, my godfather, put some clothes on you, hussy. Or at least stand on a tarpaulin. Back to you, Red and Wilbur.
Thanks very much, Pete.
Aha, Sean, here they are now.
Excellent.
No one had any matches.
Please thank the Micallef tonight human fireball. Huzzah. Hello, Monica. Oh, sorry. I
don't even know her name.
I don't know who you are. I've never met you before. Francis, whom do we now have here?
Strange enough, Sean, this is Monica from
right.
Mitcham.
Excellent.
She loves reading and dinner parties, especially alfresco dining. She's a bit of an interior decorator at home and works part-time as a homeware consultant.
I see. Excellent. And homeware, what's that? It's like the what? Sort of like cookie jars and things like that, is it?
Oh, furniture, cutlery, crockery, you name it, we sell it.
Yes, all right. Well, I'm getting a big cramp in my leg, so I think we might move on if we could. I'm sorry, Monica, now, have you played The Numbers Are Right before?
No, I haven't.
No? All right. Well, just back up in here. We'll explain it. This is a very, very simple game. Are you mathematically orientated?
Oh, not bad.
All right, all right. Now, this behind each of these 5 doors here, this will be interesting, are 5 numbers. So far, so good. All right. Now, what you have to do is you have to put these 5 numbers in alphabetical order. All right. Now, it's and then we'll ask you a very simple question. All right. Very, very simple question. Which, if you get wrong, you could be leaving here tonight in this. All right. No mucking around on this show, okay? We don't want you going to Today Tonight and kicking up a big stink. All right. But if you do get it right, you could win, Pete.
That's right, Sean. You could win me. Curse my lawyers for not spotting the white slavery clause in my contract when I signed up here back in '62. Or in-season double passes to American Pie, The Wedding, and A Mighty Wind, plus Placebo's new CD and the soundtracks to Bad Eggs and A Mighty Wind.
Okay, way to go, Monica. Now, what's your choice? What would you like there? You get the whole big grab bag of things, or just Pete Smith?
Oh, Pete Smith, then.
Pete Smith! All right! Oh, well, you tell Pete's wife about that one. All right. But we'll give you the other stuff as well. All right. Now, are you ready? You got to put these in alphabetical order. Okay, you got 23 seconds starting from then. You can shout out if you want, just for atmosphere. Well done. Is that right, Francis?
Freaked if I know.
All right, well, I'll give it to Monica anyway. Francis, the question, if you please.
Certainly, Sean. Which is the correct caption for this picture? A. Howard signs historic wife-swapping deal. B. Shyness blamed as dance gets off to slow start. Or C. What you talkin' about, Willis?
All right, we'll give you no thinking time. C. C is the correct answer! Well done, Monica. you. Nice to meet you. Excellent. Nice to meet you too. All right, Pete, tell us things, won't you?
That's right, Sean. Block printing began in China during the 7th century. Semaphore was invented in 1767 so that race results could be signalled from the course to a man while he lay in bed. The Great Pyramid of Cheops is 146.3 metres tall. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Pete. Show over, fat lady singing The Sopranos. It's an IKEA joke. You put it together later on. Special thanks to our guests Todd Woodbridge, Sean William Scott, Michael McKean, Simon Tedeschi, Placebo, Dave Graney, Claire Moore and the Bad Eggs Orchestra. And before we go, let's have a quick look at what people will be talking about around the water heater tomorrow.
I just scalded my arm on this freaking thing.
Oh, well, they installed it. The stuff's undrinkable.
I see they're still persisting with that redundant line guy.
To take us out tonight, a very special treat. Izzy Die is a name, believe it or not, and a very popular one too. Izzy has been entertaining audiences for many years, and he joins us tonight with his daring tribute to both Elvis Presley and John Travolta, but in a style that is very much his own. See you in the Monkey House, Australia, and say hello to Izzy Die!
I really bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting a whine as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm all shook up.
This is Pete Smith speaking.